These are the Aerotech green bonding instructions. First of all, you wipe the dust from the inside of the liner. I was quite surprised how much sawdust there was in there. So then you open the grain boxes, dry fit the grains to check that they fit well, which mine did without any problem. You apply a thin coat of glue, so the key word is thin, to the outside of the propellant grain and avoid getting any glue on the face of the grain. So we'll just do that here. It's quite runny, so what I find is easiest to do is just to grab it with a glove and rotate. You just try and be careful not to get the glue on the end of the grain. So there we are. We just want every surface to be covered, but without it being on the end of the grain. So we're getting a little bit on the end of the grain, so we've got a tissue here. We can just take that off. So that's looking good. We can push it into the liner. And it's going in. I want to push on the end, so what I've got is a little coffee pusher here, 3D printed one. And you can see I've got quite a lot of glue on there, so I can start to rip through my tissues, just picking it up. At this point, too much is not a problem because we can easily take it off, but that means there's going to be no voids or air gaps anyway. So now we push the grain in until it's about 1 inch in. So I've just marked my 3D printed coffee pusher. Take the excess glue off. Just use the tissues. Do that. And now we take the first one of the O-rings that goes on the grain. We just carefully position that. So that's all good. It's just trying to keep the grains apart by that thickness. So now we can do the next one. Put a decent amount of glue on, a bit less than last time. And then we can run it on, covering the whole grain. There's no problem putting a finger inside the grain. That's probably quite a good way of doing it actually. So my thumb's holding the grain. I've only got one hand getting covered in glue. Yeah, that works quite well. Okay, so now we need to put this in. Check our O-ring is there. Pop it in. And then I've got my coffee pusher. This is just a 3D printed coffee pusher. Coffee temper, I should say. So we're getting a bit of excess, so we can just wipe that off on the edge. Push that in. As you can see, the grains are going in quite smoothly. This is using premium Gorrila Glue. It's an easy to do job. Put the next one in. Push it down without getting any glue on the end. Got a tiny bit of glue on the end. Let's take that off. Okay, ready for the next one. A total of 4 grains with 3 spaces between them. So next one, put the thumb in this time. And we're just making sure that it's completely saturated in glue without too much excess. So that's looking good. So we can put that one in. O-ring is still in there, it's not bent over or anything, it's going to sit quite nicely. Push that one in. It's the third one, so we've got one more to go after this. Get the excess off. Got a bit over the top here. Try less glue on the next grain. Issues are going. Edit that out. Push that until it's down about an inch in. And it's looking good on the end. So we can put our last spacer in. And just ease it up to the end of the grain. That looks good. So we've got the last grain to do. Tidy our work surface up. Get this excess off the outside. Can never have enough tissues in a game like this. Okay, last one. And then not as much this time. Sure, you could do this quicker, but I want to make sure I'm checking that I'm getting it everywhere. Don't want any dry liner, so I'm looking to see that it's shiny. Cool, but that does seem a better amount. Double check your O-rings not folded over or anything, and then we can push it in. You could push it in with a stick or anything, but this will be quite handy for the next part. Might take the excess off now before we push it any further, otherwise it might go on the grain. I mean, it might go on the face of the grain, which we don't want to do. Okay. Okay, we'll push that down about an inch. Remove any excess glue from the liner before inserting the nozzle into the liner. So that's at this end. It wants us to quite understandably remove any glue from there. We don't want to stick our nozzle in at this stage. That's not the idea here. In fact, I can take my gluey glove off now. Okay, so we do a final clean up at this end. And then what it says to do is to put the nozzle in, and so put the nozzle in and set this up like that. So now we need to use our coffee grinder to push down. Tiny bit of glue there. Take that off. Now I push that down. So that's now pushing against the nozzle. Now we'll install the seal disc. So just take a bit of grease and we just lightly grease the seal ring. Put the seal ring onto the seal disc. And then it says to lightly grease the inside of the liner, so there's not much of the liner showing. and we can just put a little bit of grease on the inside of there, and we can install the seal disc, and you'll see that's a nice, oh, see here, if you look down here, an angle, you can see that the O-ring is just sticking out a bit. So I'm going to take it out, make sure that that's actually pushed in. We get a nice click. Alright, so now it's ready to stand aside for 12 hours. We can give it a final clean up, make sure it's absolutely not got any glue, because if there's any glue on here it's going to make it harder to install. So the next thing is, if this falls over, this assembly falls over here, and we're all trouble. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it between chairs. Ready to go.